my colleagues got up early in the morning, get on a plane to be here because what we do here is very, very important. And the experiences that I'm about to share with you are very, very important for you to understand so that you can understand things in context. Now, Dean Taylor told you about the fact that she was the 12th of 12 children. I'm the 13th of 13 children. And we have to share these stories because my father was a sugarcane farmer who had no education, and my mother. So my point is, you can start anywhere in life, and you can achieve the greatest things in life. Okay? So I want to talk to you about what you can do and how you can be a transformative force as you proceed through your professional career. And I want to tell you a story because this year we're celebrating the year that we call the Charles Hatfield year. Now, Charles Hatfield was a young African American who had returned to the United States after being a World War II veteran. And in January of 1946, 70 years ago, he made an audacious demand. He demanded to be admitted into the only public law school in the state of Louisiana, Louisiana State University. He was a graduate of Xavier University. And he was denied admission because of his color. And in the letter, the dean, Paul M. Hebert at the time, said to him, you can go to Southern University because they have been authorized to have a law department. Well, Southern had never received the money to have a law school. So that was really a falsity. But Hatfield didn't give up. And so, on October 9, 1946, with the help, and we talked about social activists, with the help of Thurgood Marshall, a Howard University law grad, and a social activist himself, all right? And two other Howard law graduates who were practicing in Louisiana, A.P. Churro, all right, among them. And these names may not resonate with you, but they were giants. Okay? They were giants. So what happened was that he filed that lawsuit, and as a result of that filing of that lawsuit, Southern University Law School was born. Now, this was happening, and we have to talk about Thurgood Marshall because I want you to understand transformational power. He was also litigating a case in Texas filed by a fellow by the name of Heman Sweat. And the state of Texas so feared what was going to happen, they actually created a whole university called Texas Southern University around the same time. And I believe Texas Southern University would be celebrated if it is their 70th or will be their 70th year of actual existence in terms of Texas Southern University. So my point is that these men, all right, and there were women too, who were also part of that, especially in Louisiana. There was a black woman who wanted to go to medical school. And there were other people who were trying to open doors that you now have the ability to access because they opened the doors. Every time you go into a restaurant and you can order any type of meal and be served, you owe that to someone like you who made a difference. Who made a difference. So when I think about this, for example, if you go to Greensboro, North Carolina, there is a place there, okay, February 1st was a significant day in 1960, but also March 1st in 1960, a group of 16 students like you at Southern University sat in and were arrested and created essentially the basis for a case called Garner versus Louisiana, all right, which allowed, essentially established the right of students to protest and individuals to protest and not have that protest be deemed criminal. Now, the importance of that is that there were law students who were part of that group. Okay? One of them who just recently passed, John Johnson. You can have the same transformational impact. When people are having all the discussions about Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff, the point is you're having an impact. But the key for you is to recognize the value of the education you receive and will receive when you go through law school and the transformational impact that you can have. So we talk about Hatfield in 1946. Well, because of Charles Hatfield, because of his courage, okay, 40 years later in 1986, graduates of Southern University Law School challenged the way judges were elected in Louisiana. And they filed a lawsuit because they came from a spirit of change, of understanding how to make change. And now in the state of Louisiana, the Chief Justice of the Louisiana Supreme Court is an African-American woman who graduated from Spelman College. And because of those kinds of linkages, and in the state of Louisiana, the highest number of African-American judges per capita is in the state of Louisiana. Southern University Law Center has over 100 alums that serve as judges in the state of Louisiana across the country. So my point is, you can achieve anything you want to by accessing this education. And we are a group of schools that I call schools of access and opportunity that have transformational impact on people's lives. So you say, hey, I know, young generation, we don't know any of those people. Well, let me tell you some people you do know, or maybe you've seen. If you ever turn on the TV and you ever see a show called Judge Faith, all right, any of you ever seen that? That's Faith Jenkins, Southern University Law Center graduate, all right? So when you think about those particular opportunities, if you want to be top in the corporate world, many graduates of many of our institutions are in that realm. You want to be transformational lawyers, some of the largest judgments for individual plaintiffs have been garnered by graduates of our institutions, particularly North Carolina Central University, Willie Garrett, Wings of Justice. In the state of Louisiana, the largest individual plaintiff award ever garnered by a lawyer was done by a graduate of Southern University Law Center. Okay, over $100 million judgment. So my point is, you can have a transformational effect. You can do it at our institutions. You can do it at my institution, particularly, I'm going to say that. But it doesn't matter, because the point is that we have to understand we are a community that's historic and foundational. When you look at the history of the institutions, whether we begin with Howard's Law School, whether we come next to Central's Law School, which was second, all right? Regardless, what you see is impact in the places where there are HBCU law schools. They have significant impact, not only in their parts of the world, but everywhere else. So I tell you today that you have that same ability. We pride ourselves in taking people who sometimes other folks don't have faith in, and infusing in them the belief and understanding that they can do anything they want to, as long as they're willing to put in the work and be committed to their goals. So I thank you for this opportunity, and I'm always pleased to be with you as students, and particularly here at Morehouse College.